Tampa. The person in handcuffs on the news seemed unrecognizable to many of Howell Emanuel Donaldson IIIs closest friends. He wore a white jumpsuit and was surrounded by stout police officers who looked relieved after catching the man they were sure was Tampa's most notorious killer. Even the name seemed strange to friends. They all knew him as Trai. The label was even harder to comprehend. Serial killer. Donaldson had randomly gunned down 4 people in Seminole Heights, investigators said, leaving the neighborhood terrified for 51 days. He was quiet, cocky, easygoing. His friends remembered. Average. He always had a basketball in his hands. He went from Alonso High School to St. John's University in New York City, where he practiced for a brief time with the Division I team. He was a friend with whom many had lost touch, but not for any particular reason. People just grow old and apart. He graduated in January, according to the university, returned to Tampa and bounced between jobs. He was fired from a customer support gig for absenteeism. He started working at the McDonald's in Ybor City, where, police said, he left the gun used in the killings with a colleague who notified an officer Tuesday. The police chief said Donaldson, 24, was calm and pleasant when he talked to detectives. He admitted being the only one to ever possess the gun, but he didn't confess to the killings. He didn't say why he would shoot people or how he was connected to the Seminole Heights neighborhood. His close childhood friend learned of the news late, then stayed up all night in disbelief. My mom always commended him for his manners and likability, and she still says he was the most likable kid that you could possibly ask for, said Tyler Gimbert. Quote, she started to tear up on the phone when I told her. My dad too. It just doesn't make sense. Quote, the boys from the middle-class neighborhood called themselves the Baycrest Bunch. It was Gimbert, Donaldson and a handful of others, always sleeping over and playing pickup sports. They rode the bus together to Farnell Middle School. Gimbert, now 25, remembers his parents were sticklers for manners. Impolite friends were banned from staying over, but never Donaldson. One time, they were walking and came upon a hole with a bunch of garden snakes. Donaldson instantly picked up a fistful and threw them at his friends, launching an all-out snake war. Trai was always the brave one, Gimbert said. Gimbert said he was never too close with Donaldson's parents and remembers his friend was often watched by an older sister. Court records showed that Donaldson's mother and father had a domestic dispute in 1997 that almost led to a divorce. His family could not be reached for comment Wednesday. Gimbert once fought with Donaldson's cousin, he remembered, and they rolled into a canal behind his house. Donaldson stopped them and forced them to make amends. I can only tell you what I know about him, who he was back in the day, he said. I don't know how he might have changed or what could have led him to this. I am repulsed by it. I really am. I feel so bad for the family members of the victims and Trai's family. Question mark, question mark, question mark, question mark. Donaldson bounced between high schools, eventually landing at Alonso for part of his junior and all of his senior year. He played